Oh yeah, we back here on the Twisted T2, baby, where we do things a little different. Now, for those of you who missed it, yesterday's Reddit, well, it was definitely a fun time. We got into talking about how a husband and a wife, how the husband was role-playing as a cat online and writing in first person. Yeah, I know, you heard me. It would say things like, meow, I didn't eat today because my owner didn't feed me. Meow, I'm going to knock this off the table now. Mad, right? And the wife decided that she wasn't sure what to do. She had asked if she should divorce him, but between me and all the other people who made comments, we firmly believe that for the most part, she needed to join him and help take out his cat nemesis, Sir Pounce-A-Lot. All right? And that's real love. Just saying. So with that being said, today we're going to get into an episode that's going to showcase things that, well, do not showcase real love. And if you're already reading the screen, it does say how I found out about my wife's affair. That's right. This gentleman found out his wife was cheating, and not a laughing matter, but let's get into how he found out and what took place. Now, rumor has it there's two parts to this, so we'll get into it. Part one, then part two. If you all feel as though you have a question, leave it in the comments. If you feel as though you want to make comments about it, leave it in the comments. Now, I am writing this because of the shocking way that I found out about my wife's years of cheating behind my back. There are two parts to this story. The first is not so shocking. In the details, how I found out about her cheating the first time, and the second part is about how I found out the second time, which is truly amazes me. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. If you found out the first time, then the second time shouldn't have amazed you. But I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt that you went on and you were trying to work on that relationship and make things so that they could be okay between you two, because you probably did love her. So, here we go. Part one. It all started when I was living in South Korea, teaching English. I met my wife there, Korean woman, and the relationship started off good. Well, it doesn't say if he was or wasn't. He's teaching English, so I'm going to assume he came from another country and then went over there. We had our fights, but loved each other, or so I thought. After a few years of marriage, we decided to move to the USA. I was tired of teaching English as a profession, and she wanted to be a nurse in the U.S. She was an emergency room nurse in Korea. Her English was okay, but she wanted to try to learn it fluently. So before we immigrated, she started studying English and going to English Academy, where she would spend long hours. All right, so maybe this guy is Korean and just is also Korean, and they both may be Korean. Seeing how he couldn't teach her English for some reason, so strange, but whatever. After a while of studying there, before we moved back to US, I started seeing some changes in her. First, there is a messaging app in Korea called Kayako Talk. It's used almost ambiguously over there. Think Facebook Messenger for Korea. Okay, that makes sense. In the past, she has always had a picture of us as her profile picture on the app. She made sure our picture was on mine as well. Yeah, they do that. Then one day I noticed she took all of our pictures off of the app. I confronted her about it, and I forgot what excuse she made up. But when I asked her to put our picture back up there, she was absolutely not doing it. I think she made it seem like it wasn't a big deal and I was making too much out of it. Yeah, it is a little bit of a flag. I knew something had changed, and I noticed her attitude towards me was more confrontational and demanding during this time. I still didn't suspect cheating. However, I should have, but She had always said she loved me so much and would never cheat on me. I guess I believed her. Motherfucker, you ain't got to guess, you believed it. But I mean, before this, obviously, I don't see a reason why you wouldn't believe it. There were a few nights she didn't come home. Oh shit, I would that's big. Okay. Each time, of course, she made a believable excuse. Like what? What is so believable that you don't come home all night? On the night I found out, she had said she would stay the night with her sister because she had to take care of her sister and her husband. She had to take her sister and her husband to the airport early the next morning. I guess my question to you is, where is this at? This was probably the third or fourth time I had to stay at the apartment by myself. Oh no. And that night, I started to feel lonely. So I messaged her on Kayo Talk. Not only did she not answer my text on the Korean Facebook, I couldn't tell if she never ever read them because on the app I could tell she never read them because on the app it lets you know if your message has been seen or not. Later, I found out that she had blocked me. Oh, well, damn. So she never even received the messages. Well, she blocked you. This is an issue. I called and got no answer because she blocked you. I waited a bit longer and called again. And still, of course, no answer because she blocked you. Also on the Korean Facebook, it will show you who's currently on the app. I saw that her sister, who she said she was staying with, was on the app. I called her sister and I asked her sister if she was there and explained that she had told me she was staying the night there. Oh shit. Her sister seemed shocked, and you could tell by the tone and her answer that she didn't know anything about this. She hadn't even seen my wife and didn't know where she was. Damn. She didn't want her sister like, yo, I'm messing around on him. I'm gonna need you. I'm using you for my excuse. I didn't know at the time, but after my phone conversation with the sister called my wife and wanted to know what's going on. My wife probably lied to her as she did me too. But her sister did convince her she needed to call me. So my wife calls me and I was pissed. I knew she had lied to me. I told her she better get home now or our marriage is over. Bro, your marriage was over before that. It's unfortunate. Upon arriving home, she told me to get her car and started spinning a tale, which she probably told her sister too, about not wanting to tell me, but that she was out clubbing with some single friends. She made it sound like she was just helping them hook up with guys and wasn't looking for anyone herself. All right, buddy. Yo, buddy. After night one, we'd had an issue for real. I mean, it's hard here. I said, give me your phone. And basically yanked it out of her hand. I opened that Facebook app and clicked on the first conversation and started going through it, snapping pictures. Only then did the real truth come out. The messages I had been taking pictures of were from a teacher at the English Academy she had been attending. I only had a few pictures before she took the phone back crying, asking me to please stop because she didn't want to hurt me anymore. But the pictures I did have definitely told me the story. They had a sexual relationship, and he is who she was with that night. So she confessed about having liked him and having an affair with him. God, I was pretty devastated. Yeah, no kidding. What gets me is, again, you was a person who taught English. So I don't know why she's over here at an English school getting it from another person when you taught English, but you the idiot that let her do it. Unbelievable. I was pretty devastated. We were literally a month away from going to the US together. Her green card had already been approved, and I already didn't have anyone over there for support. You see, in Korea, English teaching is usually temporary. The academies give native English speakers 1-year contracts, and most people go back to their home countries after 1 or 2 years. By that time, I had been married for 3 years and didn't really get much out of it. Most of our friends I had were long gone by then. Damn, sorry to hear that, bro. You were lonely. She begged me to forgive her and said that she was sorry and it would never happen again. You know the drill. At first, I said, no way. I'm going back alone. But I was completely distraught. It was like my whole world had crashed. After a while, I just couldn't bear the thought of that 18-hour plane ride alone. Oh, you was being a pussy. I was truly a mess. Yes, you was, because you was becoming a sucker here. I'm smelling the sucker. So I decided to give her a second chance. Oh, I'm throwing my hands up. Bro. No. Listen, man. Okay? She had already cheated on you multiple times with that one person. And you just don't, you caught it on that occasion, but you already should have just stopped. We stayed together and came back to the USA. And I bet you figured that, once you brought her here, she wasn't going to know nobody, right? And, she would be faithful and kind and all this other stuff and probably work really hard to keep this relationship going. But, yeah, that's right. Something tells me, I'm smelling it, it didn't happen that way. No, it didn't happen that way. She got out here and started giving out massages and hand jobs. The first year back was pretty rough, absolutely. Trying to get a job outside of teaching with a resume limited to the time in Korea was not easy. I ended up surviving, mostly doing DoorDash and some part-time work. Then we were forced to move in with my parents due to financial constraints. There, I got a job at a really good company that I had worked for a year before I went to Korea. But if I was smart, we would have stayed with my parents while at the onset and got the job there. Anyways, after working there a year, my wife got a job there too. Now, both making good income, we moved into our own apartment. Things seem to be going well. No, because you still got that resentment built up in you. However, and she still got the tickle in her panties to go run around. However, we still had occasional fights, and sometimes it seems like she was deliberately pushing me away. That's because she was. Some of the things she would say, some of the things she would get mad at, I would scratch my head and be like, why in the hell is she complaining over this? One time I can remember, I always used to leave my Monster Energy cans by the sink so I could dump them in the next time I did dishes. Usually, I never finished the whole thing and would just leave them by the sink. She never, that I remember, said anything before about not wanting me to do that. But one day she got angry and said in an angry tone something to the effect, why do you leave those there? Why do you leave those there? I told you not to do that. Dump them in the sink right now, or next time I'll pour them all over your pillow. Okay, that's a little dramatic. She's Korean, when she gets angry, she gets very demanding towards me and says some nasty things. She would apologize later, but due to our continuous arguments and distancing, we decided to get a divorce around fall of 2024. Oh, last year. September, October-ish. She had been going back to Korea for a few weeks to visit her family and her friends almost every year since we moved to the U.S. That year, in 2024, she was going back in the winter. Our divorce proceedings were still going on at the time. We were still living together because neither one of us had the money to cut our lease and get out. And we were living as friends, even friends with benefits. I still loved her. After all, yeah. While she was in Korea, one day she called me crying and told me she was mad, had received an angry call from an angry call on the Facebook, that Korean Facebook app, from the wife of the man she cheated on me with 4 years earlier. Ay, ay, ay. My wife claimed she confessed to the woman everything that had happened between them. Later, she said the woman sent her a legal notice threatening to sue her. Oh, damn. That's right. Even though adultery is not a criminal offense in South Korea, apparently it's still a civil offense, and you are allowed to sue the person that your spouse cheated on you with for compensation. Yo, that's nuts. Makes a lot of sense, but that's nuts. As an American, that seemed really odd, but it's true. You can do that in South Korea. I was flabbergasted. She had to tell me because now she was scared of the legal consequence and needed money to pay for a lawyer to defend herself. She asked me to help in getting a 401k loan from work to pay for it. Yo dumbass better not. Yo dumbass better not. Okay, before I get into this next verse, yo dumbass better not do that. All right, ain't nobody tell her to slide box around to other people. So therefore, she should have known. All right, she on her own in this situation. Let's see what he does. I asked her now, how his wife could have found out about something that happened so many years ago. She explained that they had communicated about their affair through essays she wrote while attending the English Academy, and that she must have read those. So I thought maybe he cheated again recently in a similar way with another student, and she found out. Then she started looking into his files and, well, found these essays. I did really question the timing of all this because it seemed to be very odd that she suddenly contacted my wife at the time my wife was in Korea. I mean, what are the chances? She could have found out about his cheating any time in the past 4 years, but happened to find out while my wife was in Korea? It did seem like some odd timing. Yeah. Seems like some very odd timing, honestly. Real coincidental, right? It seemed like some odd timing. Seemed more likely that maybe something happened between my wife and him, and while she was over there and the wife found out. I told my wife that, but my wife was adamant that there had been no meetings or communications with him since the original cheating took place before we came to the USA. So, stupidly, I believed her. I told you. All I could think was that he must have cheated again. And then she dug into the files and found out about my wife and him many years prior. Since she was already over there, she used her credit card to hire a lawyer. She had me sign over rights to be able to sue the guy she cheated on me with on my behalf. Whoa. So the wife, even though they were going through a divorce, so your wife, while you were going through a divorce, had you sign over rights to be able to sue the guy on your behalf. So the English speaking teacher who was sleeping with your wife is getting sued by you and you don't know it, while his wife is suing your wife. This is nuts. Since we were still legally married in Korea, I was able to sue him. I didn't really want any part of this, but all I had to do was agree to allow her to sue, and then she could take care of it. A couple months passed, and then the guy she cheated on me with, of course, found out he was being sued by me. So, I don't know how, but he somehow got my email address and contacted me. What you mean you don't know how? Your wife did that. He told me He told me, put me in an utter state of shock. Oh, what did he tell you? He had apologized, of course, and was very sincere. Oh, yeah, how you knew that? You know that because it was through the email? He told me they had met when she went back to... Whoa. He told me they had met when she went back to Korea late in 2024. And remember, they was getting a divorce in fall of 2024. She had contacted him the day of arriving to Korea and wanted to meet. That dirty box. At the time, he was trying to have a second baby with his wife and didn't really want to meet her, but he was worried that if he ignored her, she might escalate the situation further and involve his wife. They had lunch together and she wanted to have sex with him. Dirty box. But he pretended to ignore her and dropped her off at the subway station. A few days later, she texted him again saying she had deep feelings for him and asked if he felt the same way and she wanted to meet to have sex. She was just trying to get that box to everybody but you. Finally, trying to make things clear, he told her directly that he didn't have any such feelings for her and he didn't want to meet her again. That's when apparently my wife went into a fit of rage. Listen. You already know that your wife does fits of rage. She told you she was going to have you swimming inside your monsters if you don't keep them off the sink. My wife must have gotten his wife's phone number from his car or maybe looked it up on the Korean Facebook app. It turns out my wife is the one who contacted his wife and confessed everything. I know because I asked the man for proof and he sent me pictures of the messages my wife sent to his wife on the app. Yo, your wife ain't no good. I don't know how you still using the term wife. So it turns out, where's her real name? So it turns out that the man's wife would have never known if my wife didn't reach out, opening her mouth. After his first email to me, before he even replied to my following questions, it just clicked in my mind what he was saying was more believable to me than what my wife had told me. Yeah, it sounded more believable. Something had indeed happened between them the last time she visited. Yeah, absolutely. The confessions my wife made to his wife were legendary. After feeling betrayed by him, she explained everything to her. It detailed how they continued communicating through Instagram, Snapchat, Google Docs, etc. through all these years. They met in 2023 when my wife went on a trip. To Korea, and my wife even booked a hotel. Oh my gosh. It's very clear from her confessions that she was deeply in love with this man, that she had even been getting online tutoring / sexual talk lessons from him. Damn. Until about the summer of 2024. That explains why she was treating you like shit. Because she was already getting her whistle thing. She just wasn't getting it plugged. All this time she had claimed that there were absolutely no contact between him and her since the original cheating took place back in 2020. Now, armed with the proof and still in shock, I knew I had to confront her and give her one last chance to confess. I don't know why you waited for her to confess. I doubt she told the truth. So I told her that something had been bothering me. I explained that the timing of his wife finding out about their 4-year prior cheating while my wife was in Korea just didn't sit right with me. I told her it seemed like much more likely that something happened between them and, well, when she was in Korea, his wife found out. She still denied anything had happened and still stuck to her story that they never met or had any communication since moving to the United States. Well, I have proof now, so I smacked her with it. Pat, pat, pat. So I straight up told her, I know you lying. I know you lying. Why you always lying? And then I showed her the proof. That's right. I said, here you go. Then, oh yeah, now you want to confess. Oh, now you want to tell the truth. I know. It's an interesting story about how people discover their spouses have been cheating on them, but this just amazes me how it all went down. If my wife would have never, in a fit of rage, contacted his wife and confessed like that, and if this would have been any other country that doesn't allow you to sue your spouse that cheated on you with, I'd have never known. It's only because of the lawsuit that he would have ever contacted me to tell the truth. Yeah, your wife was never, well, the lady you've been sleeping with for years was never going to tell the truth. I know. I was not the best husband, and communication was always a bit of an issue due to our language barrier. I think, well, that's funny. That is funny, by the way. Hold on. I think during the time she spent at English Academy, they must have had a real connection. He probably connected with her emotionally in a way I could never. He spoke her language, listened to her, consoled her. So she developed a deep bond with him. That's why it hurt her so much when he pushed her away at the end. This is my story, and I hope it helps somebody. All right. I hope it helps somebody too. Okay? Dan4112. So Dan4112, here's what I will say. Okay? It's an interesting story. Listen, most people find out that they getting cheated on through other ways. And, this was kind of crazy how you figured out that you was being cheated on. Now, you found out in 2020 you was being cheated on and you decided to stay with the lady, right? And you knew you had those language barriers. You knew that emotionally it was a mess, and you knew that she had already given it out. All right? So there's a few lines that just, you don't cross, especially if you feel a certain way about the significant other or in a marriage. In a marriage situation, there's definitely lines you're not supposed to cross. And she just blatantly kept crossing them, right? So the first time, I can't really say that, the first time she cheated was on you, because that was on her. Whether or not that person connected with her and made her feel a certain way and all that other stuff, like, she allowed that person, open the door for that person to come in, knowing that she was married with you. That was a choice, okay? So with you knowing that, like, whether or not she had her green card when your ass came back, I'll tell you right now, you should have been coming back by yourself. But you chose to keep her with you. So the truth always comes out with time. So for everybody who think they getting away with the dirt, you think you getting away with doing something stupid, you think this is going to be sneaky and I'm going to get away with it. You're not getting away with it, right? It might not come back in that relationship. It might not come back there, but it always comes back. Might not even come back to you. It might even come back to somebody else. So that's connected to you. So it always comes back. Now, she was hurt because she felt like she could rely on him as a backup option. And when she found out that her backup option was no longer there and her first option wasn't an option anymore, of course she's hurt. She's going to spend some time alone, and she's going to have to wait because karma's going to be a bitch. Now, so sorry to hear about your marriage, but giving someone who lied to you, snuck around, cheated on you a second chance is a huge error in your judgment. You probably heard a lot of that, but I have never been a believer in second chances. Listen, there are certain situations where you should give out second chances, and there's some where you just shouldn't. Okay? Sorry to hear that. The last paragraph you wrote is the reason that you were cheated on. Let's see what the last paragraph says. I know I wasn't the best husband in communication. Look, all right. I don't think that's the reason you was cheated on, right? I don't think you were cheated on because you wasn't the best husband and because your communication wasn't the best. I don't think it was that, and that person was able to console her and listen to her emotionally, because that person only wanted one thing from her and he kept getting it. So, like I know, people listen up until they get what they want. So let's not sit here and act like that teacher was a super teacher and making sure she was so wellly taken care of, right? You was still the person at home providing. Okay, you two still had a home thing going on. The problem is she couldn't see or care enough to basically give you what you need, or for you to give her what she needs. Realistically, she was trying to learn English and you was an English teacher. So again, I said in the beginning, I'm confused at why her ass is at some school learning it from some other people when you teach it. But what do I know? So I will say that I don't think that last paragraph is why or the reason you was cheated on. I just don't think that she was ready to keep a commitment to you for you, because it wasn't happening. Okay? Just wasn't happening. I think that when you all got together, everything was like, ooh, and spontaneous. But it all started to die out, and you saw it, and y'all just chose to not do anything about it to like that or do more. So she went about it in a selfish way that a lot of people do selfish shit. Now, a nurse, question mark, and you took back an extremely disrespectful, demanding woman who also cheated. You dug your own pit, bro. No sympathy here. Learn and do better. It's a tough lesson. Yo, it is a tough lesson. Another K-drama. Yo, it is a tough lesson because you should have known better after the first one. We tell you, yo, look, after the first one, this all happens because you couldn't bear the thought of flying alone. Man up. Told you. A simple movie, and a nap, and you would have had no drama or betrayal. You betrayed yourself by not establishing a boundary and letting her go. You picked a whore. Now drop her and learn from your mistakes. That's not funny. You got stuck on flying home alone while I couldn't figure out why he didn't teach her English. Thank you, bro. His whole sole purpose. Like, why didn't he teach her English? That was my thing. I'm like, yo, you dumb, bro. Right now would be the perfect time to get her deported back. Y'all ain't no good. It sounds like your ex-wife is, in addition to being a cheater, a pathological liar. If everything in her story is accurate, she sounds like an extremely unhinged, convincing, and scary person. You're gonna find out that life is much more enjoyable without a toxic partner. Good luck on your journey. Thumbs up. Once you said the words emergency nurse, I stopped reading. ER nurses have an extremely high rate of infidelity. Nurses in general, but ER nurses rank the highest. I never knew that. So, if y'all looking to get some quickies, start hanging out with them ER nurses, okay? You brought it to yourself when you forgave her the first time and even brought her to the US with you. Thanks, ChatGPT. It's a good one. All right, on this note, this person right here seems to think that this was fake. So I'm going to ask that if you think this was fake, do us a favor, leave it in the comments. If you think he was a dumbass for taking her back, I need you to write dumb and put a donkey in the comments. Okay? As well, we all feel that way. Again, there's certain things we believe in second chances, certain things I don't. This person wrote, you gave it a card. Couldn't read no more after that, my friend. Buddy, cheating was a choice. If you both didn't have a connection, you wouldn't have gotten married in the first place. Stop trying to justify her. She let herself run all places. If she was in love with you, there was always a way to tell you about it. You both could have parted ways. But not only did she choose to lie, she never stopped chasing that man. The audacity she must have had to come and ask you to settle that 401k is ridiculous. She's a liar, a cheater, and a con. To go back to a man and offer herself while being in a marriage is the worst thing a spouse can do to her husband. She's no victim of feelings and emotion. You were the one she took all those years from. You were the one she treated disrespectfully. You are the one she hid from. She took enough of your time. Don't forgive her. You don't have to be the bigger person. You were betrayed. You have every right to hate her. Don't put yourself under the mat and let her walk all over you. She will never be guilty. She cheated on you, betrayed the person who loved you. Yo, what's this person's name? Healthy employee. You're right. All right. Now, you don't have to. Okay. You're right about con artists, disrespectful. Cheating is a choice. Truly disrespectful. The way she treated you. Stop justifying her 100%. All right. she'll never have that guilt because, she ain't gonna care until some shit's done to her. It's just the way that it is. She ain't gonna care. She's selfish. She was only thinking about herself, and it shows. Now, that's what I will say, all right? I don't want you to forget what has happened to you. If it weighs heavy on your heart and you have to forgive, then forgive. But don't forget, and damn sure don't go back to her. Don't take her back. And as a matter of fact, man, block her. Because she only going to use you and ask you for stuff and be like, but you're my ex. You're supposed to help me. And it's been 20 years and I need some more money. Fuck that shit. All right? Fuck that shit. Just remember, some of the closest people to you, well, they'll do your ass dirty. Look at what this lady just did. So, with that being said, for those of you who was checking out this video, I greatly appreciate it. For those of you who stayed to the end, well, I appreciate you even more. I want you to remember a few things. Number one, not everybody's out there with your best interests, as you just saw and listened as we read. Okay, so do yourself a favor, keep that head on a swivel, right? Keep them eyes open, never let them see you sweat. Okay, remember, enjoy your days, and guess what? Come back when you need a laugh, because we're here for you, all right? That being said, you take care. Peace out.